Hi, witches.
Hi, hello, and welcome back to another episode. That really threw me off. I mean, good job doing that.
It wasn't
I'm like,
intentional.
oh, did I'm like over here, like, okay, I got 5 seconds before it actually restarts recording. I can take a drink, and all of a sudden I hear, "Hey," and I'm like, "Huh, we're not there
Yeah,
yet."
no, we're not. That's just the
How do
kind of
It's a Monday, but it's not.
yeah.
It's a Tuesday, but it's a Monday. Um,
Oh, thank goodness
and
this is a short week.
yeah, this episode is going to be a little different too. I had
Surprise.
I had a long weekend, and then
We
like yeah,
oh.
year life. And I unfortunately did not finish the reading, and I was going to finish, and I ended up falling asleep yesterday. I am very tired, and that is why. So unfortunately, we're gonna skip this week, but you're still gonna get your Wednesday episode. It's just not gonna be a book episode. So catch up on Saturday on everything else.
Yeah.
But we are gonna do a folklore episode. So we're gonna go back into the Egyptian folklore realm, and I'm gonna be talking about Book of the Dead, and Brandy's gonna be talking about more of the modern, the significance and all of that of the Book of the Dead. I don't necessarily have a spell, but I did get like a little tiny ritual that is very similar to what we're gonna talk about today. So I'll add that down at the or not down, but at the end of it. So yeah. Anyway, so the Egyptian Book of the Dead is not a book in the traditional sense. It's not really actually about death, really. It's actually a guidebook for the soul. Like GPS, if you will. It's kind of like it tells you how to navigate the afterlife. It is something that's packed with spells, symbols, and stories that still resonate today. So the basics. The Book of the Dead, or listen, when I saw this word pop up, it is RW space NW space PRT space M space HRW. That is the ancient Egyptian word for Book of the Dead.
There were no vowels in that.
You want to know how it's pronounced? With vowels.
Okay.
So, the Book of the Dead, or Ru Nu Pert M Hu in ancient Egyptian,
Hooroo,
translates
Becky. Ooroo.
to it translates to spells of coming forth by day. It's not a single book. It is actually a collection of texts, or the spells, hymns, or prayers that were once written on papyrus scrolls and buried with the dead. Its purpose was to help that soul survive the trials of the Duat, or the Egyptian underworld, and emerge into eternal life. Now, Egyptians have this they have a very hard, I don't want to say it's like reincarnation, but they have a very, very hard rule of day and then afterlife, or like your life and then afterlife. Like anything you do in your like day-to-day time is going to affect how you do your afterlife. And it's not like one of those things like in Christianity where you go up to the gates of heaven and whoever it is, John, Peter, or whatever, sits there and says, "You're good, you're not, you're good, you're not." Like it's more in depth, this. So this is very important. This is very sacred to them. And the ancient Egyptians, and I'm sure there's still part of the culture that still lives today. Maybe not as much as then, but pretty similar. These scrolls were often written in, the hieroglyphic or hieratic I want to call it heretic every single time I read that word. Heretic. Whatever.
Heretic?
Script. Heretic? You know,
I don't
I don't
know.
know. The way the words are, like the way the letters are coupled together, I don't know. Anyways, these scrolls, so they were written in hieroglyphics, and some have actually stretched over 50 to 100 feet. The wealthier Egyptians commissioned personalized versions, which were richly richly illustrated with scenes of judgment, gods, and magical creatures. The name Book of the Dead was coined actually in the 19th century by German Egyptologist Carl Richard Lepsius, who had published the first modern collection in 1842. So let's talk about the soul's journey through the duat. Imagine this: the tomb is sealed, the soul awakens in darkness, and a jackal headed guide waits at the gate. You clutch a scroll of spells, your only map through the underworld. The duat wasn't just a place, it was actually a psychological and spiritual landscaping. The soul faced 12 gates, each guarded by deities or monsters. To pass, you had to know their name and recite specific spells, improve your moral purity. You're guided by Anubis, the jackal-headed god of embalming, Tot, the ibis-headed scribe who records your deeds, and Osiris, lord of the afterlife, who awaits your judgment. The most iconic moment is called the weighing of the heart. Your heart is placed on a scale opposite the feather of Ma'at, who was the goddess of truth and cosmic balance. And if your heart is heavier, it is devoured by Ammit, the soul eater, who was a terrifying hybrid of a crocodile, lion, and a hippopotamus. And I love that those three animals are like coined with Egypt. Anytime I see like a crocodile, lion, or hippo, I immediately think Egypt. I don't know why, but that's what I do. So
That
Ammit
is the
didn't
American
punish.
education system.
Oh man. Ammit didn't punish. She actually just erased you. There was no afterlife, no second chance. So let me ask you. If your heart was weighed today, what would tip the scale? Would it be the regret, integrity, or silence? Like, is there
For
something that you
me,
could have done better? Is there something that you witnessed happen and you didn't speak up about it? Is it let me tell you, mine would be regret.
I don't think mine would be regret. I think it would be the not speaking up, because there have been multiple times, even right now, with all the protests and things happening. I want to be a part and I want to say things and be active, but I'm scared.
Yeah, and I understand that because there's moments too where it's like, if I do speak up, am I going to lose my job? If I lose my job, like if it becomes a thing and I lose my job, how will I pay my like mortgage? How will I do this? How will I do that?
Right.
Well, I don't even have a mortgage. How will I pay my rent? But like it's things like that that make me not necessarily scared to speak up, but like I'm worried about my way of life. Like am I going to be able to provide for myself if I do this?
Yeah.
If I just go to jail, like, okay, I can still come back out and I still got something to do or like work with,
I would lose
but
my
like,
job. If I went
I
to
would
jail,
definitely
I
lose
would
my
lose
job.
my
I don't
job.
think I would actually, as long as I wasn't a felon, I probably would still be able to like keep my job.
I would
but,
not. I would lose my job. If I get
but like,
pulled over for speeding in a school zone, I will lose my job.
see, and it's like, it's things like that that I think a lot of people are like, oh, you're just afraid to speak up. And it's like, what is the main reason? Like, what is the goal? Like, what is the deep down dark reason behind that, though? Like, are you just afraid to speak up because you don't want people to think differently of you? Or are you afraid to speak up because that's your entire way of life that's at stake? Like,
Right.
people are quick to judge with that. And so, like, and that's the thing here. It's like, judging, you would be tipping that damn scale. So you better be weighing your goddamn heart today.
There you go.
But like,
Rip it
it's
out, put
things,
it on the scale.
right? So it's things like that you're like, it's not like, oh, were you a good person? Cool, come on in. Like, oh, I forgive your sins. No, this is like one of those like, here's all the shit you did. Do
Yeah,
you
there's
believe
no
you?
deathbed confessions and all of a sudden
Yeah,
being absolved of your sins. That's not a thing in Egypt.
no. So like, there is no second chance. So that's why this was such a sacred thing for them. That's why embalming was so sacred. That's why how they were buried, where they were buried, and that's why there was such an upset when a few tombs were either ransacked or opened up by like not I don't want to say Americans, but like Westerners, because they're not of this location, they're not of this culture, they don't know the sacred part of this. um, so that's why there was a lot of issues back in like the 1920s when like King Tut's tomb was open, because everyone's like, oh my god.
Right.
So they take death and like funeral rites very seriously. um but it makes you question, what have you done in your life that determines which side of the scale you're going to be tipping on. um but anyways, back to the book. So the Book of the Dead actually includes around 200 known spells. Some were poetic, others were very practical. Many were adapted from older texts like the pyramid text or coffin text. And I don't know if these would be considered like the most famous from the books or from the book or whatever, but we are going to talk about a few. The first one is spell 125. This is called the negative confession. It is a list of 42 sins the soul denies committing, like a spiritual resume, if you will. Spell 43, it protects the soul from decapitation. Symbolically, it's about preserving your voice and your identity. And that's the thing about Egyptians. When you were embalmed, your like brain was removed, your organs, some of your organs were removed. They weren't kept. They were actually placed in a sacred jar. And each organ had its own specific jar that it had to go in. Because that's like how their deities worked, basically. And all of this was all part of the funeral rites when burying somebody. And if somebody died by decapitation, like no afterlife for you kind of thing. Like, I've never seen like a culture take something so serious. Well, okay, never mind. I take that back. Would I consider this a religion? No, it's a culture, but I know a religion that's taken things like this very seriously.
I mean, it was a religion then, right? Like,
It was a way of
I mean,
life,
it
not
was a
even
way
a
of life, a
religion.
culture, but
Yeah. Um. Uh. Anyways, and then spell 77, it transforms the soul into a divine falcon soaring above earthly concerns. So it's like transcendent kind of thing. And these spells weren't just words, they were actually tools. And the illustrations that accompanied them weren't decorative, they were part of the magic. So when you look at tombs, or if you go to like an Egyptian exhibit and you actually seen all of these hieroglyphics on the walls, sometimes that is the spells. Like, it did say that like you were buried with your scrolls, and if you look at certain locations, you actually see a lot of scrolls, like ancient scrolls or whatever, sitting out. I feel like if you had the money, or if you were like a pharaoh, because let's be real, majority of the like unearthing of certain items or whatever, they're all going to be like pharaoh, like
or
royalty kind of thing,
rich,
people with
yeah.
money. Yeah, so they're going to be able to paint each and every one of these spells on their like burial room, whereas everybody else probably had like a set of scrolls.
Yeah.
But there's actually like a one lesser known spell. Um, it's called spell 30B. It's technically called a plea to the heart. It's to not betray the soul during judgment. It's a reminder that our own conscience can be our fiercest ally or our greatest threat. So if you have regret about something that you should have done, that's going to be a bad thing for you.
All right.
So a little bit of the evolution around it. So originally only pharaohs had access to the funerary texts, or the pyramid texts, like Old Kingdom, which were carved into the tombs of walls for royalty, like I said. By the Middle Kingdom, the coffin texts had expanded the access to the nobles. But by the New Kingdom, which was around 1550 BCE, the Book of the Dead was available to anyone who could actually afford it. Scribes even sold pre-written scrolls in markets, leaving blank spaces for names to be added later. This shift kind of reflected a broader change in the Egyptian religion or the culture. So the afterlife was no longer exclusive. It was a right to be earned through knowledge, virtue, and ritual for anyone willing to take that chance.
I'm just imagining like poor peasant families, like you saving up forever to buy one of these, and then like what happens
it's the
if
same
they
thing
don't?
as buying a fucking coffin.
Right, like
Listen,
that's one of those things that's like, what's a scam that nobody realizes is a scam? The burial process in the United States.
No, not even 10, $15,000 it took to for my mom to be buried. And I tell you what, the plot was 300.
Yeah.
It was 3,500 for the coffin, and that wasn't even like top of the line coffin. That was like one of the it was either that or periwinkle fucking 70s blue. And I tell you what, my mom would be like, pay the extra $500 to put me in something that's not that god awful ugly color.
I told Brittany if she puts me in the ground, I'm going to follow her around and haunt her. She better not put me in the ground. Unless it's one of those tree pod things.
Oh, yeah.
She better not pump me full of chemicals and put me in the ground. You better burn a bitch, okay?
Oh, and that was the thing too. Like, when you're in the moment of like losing a loved one, and first of all, losing a loved one that had like no fucking will set up, it's very like, what would they want? And so, and that's the thing. Like, you have so many choices nowadays that like you don't. It becomes overwhelming, and like when you're walking through an entire like gallery of just coffins, just knowing that your loved one is like somewhere in this building and like you're never going to see them again, it's very overwhelming to the person. And that's probably how they get all of their money out of you, because you just don't know. You're overwhelmed already, you're having a lot of feelings, and then boom, you're just like, okay, I guess I'll pick this coffin. I have to put her, I have to dress her like that. I can't just not. Okay. I guess we'll do this. I guess we'll do that. Like, it's, oh my God, it's so nerve wracking. But $15,000
is insane.
To put her in, yeah. And that was just burying her, and having like, you know, the typical, like, not celebration of life thing, but like the viewing and the coffin, and that was it.
Insane. Let me go on record right now. I'll come back and haunt all of you bitches if you pump me full of chemicals and put me in a box in the ground. The only way I better go in the ground is in one of those tree pod things. Otherwise, you better burn a bitch, okay? Public record. Burn a bitch.
If you're gonna put me in the ground, you better be fucking planting trees in my honor somewhere in the fucking areas that need it. Listen,
the only way you're putting me in the ground is if it's one of those tree pod things.
Hold on, listen. I had a resident that had died this year, and like, to honor the family, I had asked the staff that knew her if they wanted to put forth like money towards buying a tree. And they were like, well, do we get the tree? Do we sand it to them? Do we have to plant it? What happens? And it's like, no, it's you buy a tree and then they plant the tree in an area that has either faced deforestation or like is just needing to be replanted. So like, I was like, I feel good about doing this. Okay. And it was only $20. Well, 40, but
yeah,
like, you get a tree in your honor. So like if you're gonna do that, everybody, like, you either be adopting a fucking animal that you're gonna keep for the rest of your life, or you plant some fucking trees in my name. Either way.
Don't
But
put me
yeah,
in a
it is
box
it is a
ground.
huge fucking scam. Like, not only are these people grieving the lost loved one, but now you're making them pay. Like,
And
okay,
like they don't like try to make you feel guilty. Well, some of them probably do, but like they're like, well, this one's only this much more. If you think they'd like this one better, I don't think they'd like shit. They're dead. Okay,
right? And I'm
like
sitting here like, that was the shit that they pulled when we were like in a meeting with like the person, and everyone, and that's the thing about growing up in a small town, everyone fucking knows you. Everyone knows where you went to school.
right,
Everyone knows somebody within your family. And so she was like, "Oh, Sandy was so loved." And I was like, "Who the fuck are you? I don't even
right.
know who you are." Like, are we supposed to, like, is this even a good location? And then like,
Like
well, we
what?
could do this for her or we could do that for her. And I'm sitting here like, can you just tell me this is how you're going to do it and be done with it? Like,
Right.
why do I have
It
to make the decision? Like, my mom fucking suddenly died overnight like 5 days ago, and we're supposed to bury her in a couple of days. Like, not only do I have to go to the fucking, like, take care of a grieving father who has no idea what to do with his life anymore, but I'm an only child, so I also have to navigate this by myself with my big fucking feelings. Oh my
yep.
god, it is, oh god.
It's predatory and gross. Like
I
much
know.
like just about
So
everything else
like,
in the United States.
if you don't think it's going to happen to you and you're like, "Oh, I have time to write my will." It doesn't matter. Like, you either write a will or at least tell somebody what you want early and ahead of time.
Yeah.
Because holy shit, if you walk in there like, this is what she wanted, all right, cool, great, and then like walk out and be done with it, great, you're still gonna get fucking scammed out of it. But let me tell you, at least you're gonna go in there, give them what
Well,
you want or what they want.
that was one nice thing about my grandma when she passed. Like her and my grandpa, they were old. So they had already gone in and like they already bought their grave plots. They already had a certain amount put down on their like coffin or casket or whatever. And so we just had to like pick the color and pick the fucking paper things that they hand
Oh
out.
yeah, and that was the thing too. It was just like, I just kept getting handed shit left and right, and I was like, oh my god, I can't even focus.
Right. And you were like,
um
what, 20? Not even?
those No, not even. No, I was because, girl, thank you for saying I'm younger than I am. It's only been 5 years or 6 years.
Oh, shit. Okay. So
Yeah,
you
it's only
were
been 6 years.
like 20 something.
7. Now it's
Yeah.
27, I think. Um,
Still, that's really young to be losing your
yeah, and
parent.
well, yeah, and then having like a, I don't want to call my dad a man child because he's not a man child, but like, my mom took care of him and did a lot of the like heavy lifting and like the hard things of like, if my mom was able to, she would be like on her fucking deathbed doing all of this bullshit. Like,
Right.
dad didn't have to do a lot of those items, so it was very difficult to navigate this new, like, I don't even, is this what I'm supposed to be doing? I'm looking at my aunts like, is this what you did for grandpa's funeral? Like, what the
Right.
hell?
Like, what do I do? I don't know.
Yeah. And it wasn't like we like knew it was happening. It was just like, you get a fucking phone call at 5 o'clock in the morning and it's like everyone's crying. You're like, what's happening? So,
Right.
biggest scam ever, but holy shit. But anyways, sorry.
Side
It just
quest.
makes you, is it? I mean, we're talking about funeral rites.
I mean, yeah, but we're talking about ancient Egyptian funeral rites.
True, and how better they are. um, so I'm gonna do a brief little overview about like the echoes in the modern world because Brandy's obviously gonna cover that, but it kind of helps me like segue to everything else. Um, so it's not a relic. Like, the Book of the Dead is not just a relic; it's actually a mirror. It's got themes of the truth, of balance, of transformation, and that's still a very common practice in modern spirituality and art and in storytelling. You'll find this in guided meditations, ethical frameworks, and even pop culture. But again, Casey, Jesus Christ. Again, Brandy's going to talk a little bit more about that and take us a little bit more deeper into it. But I do have, while she's fixing her everything loudly, if I do say so myself, there is actually like a ritual that you can do to kind of help I don't want to say like cleanse your actions of what you've done, but like if you want to do like a ritual to help, I guess, I don't know, be more reflective and empowering and kind of symbolic in terms of this is something that you could do. So you're going to begin by creating a sacred space. You'll light a candle. It doesn't necessarily have to be like to the T, very specific, doesn't have to be clean. You could have other things around you in the room. You could have whatever. You just have to be able to focus on like what you're doing at that time. But you want to create like this sacred space for you. You're going to light a candle. And if you have a feather, you're going to place a feather before you. It's going to be the symbol of Ma'at, the goddess of truth. Now in this part, there is the feather and a heart symbolism. So you don't necessarily have to have like a scale with a heart, a fake heart, not a real heart, a fake heart and a feather. Just something like, I have like a heart squishy that I could probably use kind of thing. Like something that symbolizes it. So something that symbolizes your heart and something that symbolizes the feather. It's, and like think of it as like a golden scale, like your way in your heart. And on this point, you're going to write down what weighs on your heart. So things like your regrets, your fears, your truths unspoken, anything that has been bugging you, any anger that you have, anything that you want to release. And then you are going to place that paper with all of it written down beside the heart. And now you're going to write your guiding truths. So things that you stand for, things that you not necessarily want to work towards, but something that you believe in and that you want to hold yourself to a higher standard for. And then you're going to you're going to place that beside the feather. At this
Was
point,
this the one that you said would help me right now?
Yeah.
Okay. That's what I thought. As you were talking, I was like, oh, sounds like something I need to do.
Yeah. We got to talking before this about things that have been bugging us and have been weighing on us a lot recently. So I was like, oh, I got something for you.
Yeah.
But, and there's something that you can like say, like you can speak your own negative confession. So like things that you want, I guess, to not necessarily get rid of, but like you want it out there. And this is inspired by spell 125. You're going to declare what you have not done and what you choose to uphold. So like I have, like, for example, I have not betrayed my voice. I have not ignored injustice. I have not denied my truth. And then at this point, you'll close your eyes and you'll visualize yourself as like a falcon in reference to spell 77, rising above the weight of that judgment. And you are going to breathe in the clarity and then you're going to breathe out that release. Now, obviously, that's easier said than done. There's still going to be things that weigh on you and things that are still going to like focus, that you are going to focus on whether or not you want to. As with all things, practice makes perfect. Things will get easier and things will get a lot better, and you can deal with things a lot differently if you just continue this. Now you can make it your own variation. You don't have to necessarily do like specifically what I've said, just something that kind of mimics something similar to it. But like visualizing your heart and the feather on one side, and you can kind of go from there. You can also use amulets with this. You can use symbolic objects with meaning. So you can do things that are very specific to the Egyptian culture. if you have something that's like been your amulet for so long and you have such a like big meaning with it, then you can use that as well. Just something that has some type of symbolic it's just a symbolic object. But some Egyptian things that you can use is an ankh, a scarab, or a lapis lazuli. Lapis lazuli. Is it azuli or lazuli? I've seen it both ways.
I think it's lazuli.
Okay.
But some people say lazuli.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay. I say lapis lazuli. I just like,
we know what you mean.
yeah. And then you can also do different colors. You can do colors that symbolize things that you wanted to let go of. So if there is, and you can also do like colors for like protection. So like gold is a divine protection. Gold was often seen as like royalty or like a deity based color. You could do blue for wisdom and clarity. You could do the black for like the mystery and the rebirth. And then obviously white is for purity and truth. White is often seen as somebody who is naive, basically. It's like that. Not, I don't want to say like naive and like is a bad thing, but like pure, basically. And then you can follow up with a closing phrase like, may your heart be light, your truth be clear, and your soul come forth by day. So there's just some things that you can do to kind of help symbolize this if you are interested in like kind of bringing the Book of the Dead into your own personal life to prepare you for whatever may come next. So other than that, we've journeyed through the Duat, we faced judgment besides Osiris, and now let's see what's going on in modern times with the Book of the Dead.
I like it. So I kind of focused more on modern Kemetic paganism versus strictly the Book of the Dead, because like the modern pagans tend to use the Book of the Dead. It's very similar to the way that ancient Egyptians, I mean, obviously, like if that calls for like a live sacrifice, people aren't doing that, at least to my knowledge. They're not writing about it on the internet if they are.
You can do like symbols too, like like instead of doing that, you can do symbolism. Like you
Right,
don't
like
have to do that exactly.
wine for blood, what, like, you know,
yeah.
So, but they're still like doing the same spells and things, just with using correspondences instead of killing people. But so Kemetic paganism or Kemetism kind of emerged in the 1970s, which, if you think about it, like Emily was saying, the 1920s ish is when like Egyptology was like really getting big. People were really into like the pyramids and the all of the tombs that were being uncovered, and so it makes sense that as that becomes a wider known and wider celebrated thing, people would dive back into some of that culture. So they have 5 sacred tenets, Ma'at being one of those. You know, the set of balance or rules, the balance, respect for order. Ma'at was also a goddess, so whether they choose to worship her as a goddess or as the principal, that's still the same vibe. And she creates like unity between the natural world, the state, and the individual. The next tenet is belief in, I should have fucking looked this up, but I sure fucking didn't. Netter. And this is, so I looked at a couple different sources. Some sources said that this is only in Kemetic orthodoxy, and some said this is just Kemetic paganism. So the belief that there is one supreme being, Neter, and that supreme being has many forms, and those are the different Egyptian gods. That seems, I don't know. I don't practice this, so I don't know, but that it does feel more like the orthodoxy kind of view. The third one is participation in and respect for the community. So participating and supporting the religious community in the way that they can. So respecting other members, reducing barriers, keeping harmony. And it was the culture was big on ancestors and like honoring those that came before, and also forming a strong bond with the family that you currently have. And then the next one is Aku veneration, which is basically honoring and respecting ancestors. And like this affects the afterlife and the ancestors' afterlife in Duat. So like if you forget your ancestors and you don't continue to honor them, then they might not be having as good of a time in the afterlife, which is kind of shitty because it's
I feel
not
like
their
this is
fault.
very similar to like not like the funerary rites, but like the Day of the Dead celebrations,
Yeah.
like where they, and it reminds me of Coco too. Have you seen
I
that?
haven't actually watched it, no.
Listen, don't do it because you're not in a good headspace. Because let me tell you, I bawled my fucking eyes out and I was not in a bad headspace, but I was
Yeah.
crying. But there's like a scene, not a scene, but like the idea behind it is it's like if my family members forget me after, like, if the last person of a family, so like if I have like 40 people in my family and I'm the last person to remember whoever this person is, if when I pass and I don't pass their information on to anybody, then like they don't even
Disappear.
get, yeah, they disappear from the afterlife. So the only reason why they like get to be in the afterlife and they get all of these things and they get to visit with their families on the Day of the Dead is because they are on an altar.
Right.
And so I feel like it's very similar in that respect.
For sure. Um, this last one is definitely mainly practiced in the orthodoxy, Kemetic orthodoxy, because it is the acknowledgement of Siuda as the Nisut. I don't fucking know. Which makes her their political and spiritual leader. Not all Kemetic pagans, though, believe in her right. So basically, she is the modern pharaoh because that's what the pharaoh was, right? It was kind of like the queen, like they're the religious leader. So the pharaoh was the god's presence on earth, and that's kind of what this person is. Looking up a photo of her, I'm gonna call bullshit, but maybe. Again, this is not my religion or my culture. So, it threw me off because she's white, like white, not like Italian white. She's like white. Um,
Blonde hair, blue eyes, white.
Not that there aren't white people in Africa. I just, this, just,
I understand the concern because like once you start like your actual culture gets mixed with white people, it's going to come a time where that white person genes is all you can see.
right. And so I'm just like, I don't know about that, but I didn't do a lot of research into her. I stuck to like the basics because that's what this episode is supposed to be about. So, I did talk some about the symbols that they still use in today, which the Ankh was one, which is the like,
It looks like a half of a infinity symbol.
yeah, with like a line through it.
It's
Right?
like a circle. It's like a
A
teardrop on top
cross
of
with
a
a loop
T.
on the top. Yeah, like,
Upside
um,
down teardrop on a T.
yeah. Which is it's supposed to be a symbol of like life, wisdom. It represents divinity and the path to destiny can be used to ward off evil. I don't remember
I
if
was
you
gonna
already
say,
said
isn't
that
it
or
like a
not, but
protection symbol?
yeah. Excuse me. I even took a nap before this. Still yawning. It's fine. The double crown. This one I had to look up what this was. And it's like it's not a crown in our like the European sense of the word. It's like a pointy,
like a pharaoh.
Yeah.
Hat?
Yes. Yes.
The pharaoh version of
a crown. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like a European tiara looking shit. It's just look it up. So the crown is divided into two parts. The white crown is worn by the pharaoh who ruled all of Upper Egypt, and the red crown is worn by the pharaoh who ruled all of Lower Egypt.
Hey, which part's Lower Egypt?
I don't know, because the Nile goes backwards. Yeah, like, right? Doesn't the Nile flow north or something weird?
Yeah,
it flows backwards.
I think it goes towards the equator, but yeah, the upper Egypt is technically southern Egypt, and lower Egypt is technically northern Egypt.
Yeah, it's backwards. I mean, backwards in my opinion, but like, it's not for them. And then the double crown is basically the joining of the two regions, so like a symbol of unity. And in modern times, it is used to represent the modern pharaoh, which is this CUT. So maybe that's why it's not as prominent now, because not everybody, I don't know. And then the Khepra, or the scarab, is associated, or it represents the god Khepra, who's associated with the path of the sun, and it's associated with Ra, the god of the sun. Scarab beetles were revered because of their actions of rolling dung, which contained their eggs into a ball and then putting them into a hole which resembled the sun's rising and setting. And if that's not the most poetic shit I've ever heard, like, this little beetle is like putting their eggs in some shit and rolling it around into a ball, and that's the sun. Like, you had to be a real optimist to come up with that shit, okay? Like,
listen, damn. In that time when everything mattered,
yeah,
everyone was a symbol, or everything was a symbol.
Yeah, even the beetles' wings were representation of night and day. I think that's because they had like the double wings, right? Like they had the shell that would open and then their wings were inside the shell.
They had like the protector case, basically. Yeah. That would look as if it was being used and then the actual wings would come out. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And actually the scarab beetle's pupa is what inspired mummification. Because the scarab beetle would be like, as they're born, they live as a larva, then become the pupa, and then they're reborn as scarabs. So that was kind of the idea behind mummification. So the mummification is like them going into their pupa stage, which is kind of fun and gross, but fun. There were some sacred places. Really, there's just one sacred place, and no. There's multiple, but these are they're like the orthodoxy ones. So the Kemetic Orthodox house, the Church of the Eternal Source, that one might not be Orthodox, but and then there are like some groups that meet up as well. And I'm not even going to try to pronounce them because they don't have any vowels in them. Except it sounds like maybe they use W as like what we use U for. Yeah. So maybe Akhet Hutru, I'm guessing then.
Oh, perfect. I don't know.
Yeah. But those were like, these are like organizations where people still get together to practice this.
I do like that though. It's like keeping the tradition alive kind of thing. It's like keeping the culture.
Even with the solitary practice, like, it's still nice to have people to have community with and to not feel alone.
I do also really, really like it because white people have whitewashed so many things, have like destroyed so many things, and this is one of the most ancient cultures.
Yeah.
that we
Yeah.
know, and the fact that all of this information was essentially protected.
Right, because they put it in their tombs and yeah, it was fucking
Like,
protected. And it Egypt is not a damp place, okay? It's literally the desert. So but even some of their celebrations were kept. So, and again, I'm so sorry if there is a Kemetic pagan listening to us anywhere in the world that would like to come on and talk to us about some of these things, and yell at us for pronouncing and butchering your
yell at us.
practices. That'd be great. Yeah, for not pronouncing things correctly.
I didn't do anything.
Listen.
We're tag teaming this bitch.
So we got Wep Ronpet, which is the Kemetic New Year. The Feast of Opet, which is held in honor of Amun, and centered around fertility and renewal. And I don't have dates on these because they didn't follow the same. They obviously don't follow the Roman calendar. Feast
Isn't
of
it
the
the
Beautiful,
Gregorian calendar?
whichever calendar. I don't know. I don't know which one they followed or which one we follow. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. The Feast of the Beautiful Valley, which is a celebration of the dead. Solstice celebrations and equinox celebrations, which are sacred to Hathor, and the Eye of Ra. Feast of the Beautiful Reunion, which is the annual reunion between Horus and his wife Hathor. They did full moon and new moon celebrations. Which god they were celebrating depends on the season. And then they are also birthdays and festival days of various gods and goddesses.
You said the Eye of Ra. Isn't the and did you say the Ankh is related to Ra?
Yes.
Because I remember reading this from
Or no,
my
it's
childhood.
the the scarab is related to Ra.
Oh, because I remember reading somewhere, and again, this is a child's book, and this is at a time where things were probably pretty whitewashed. So,
yeah, the 90s, the 2000s.
Yeah.
The
But
United
I
States.
swear I read, I swear I read it was the Eye of Ra was essentially the Ankh, and when you look through the circle part of
And maybe it is. I don't know.
I also could be pulling that out of my ass because I played a game that was about the ancient. It's not about the ancient Egyptians. You played a pharaoh, and then you have to go. It's obviously a video game, but I think there was a moment I had to look through the Ankh, and I think it was symbolized the Eye of Ra. I don't know.
I mean, so
I literally just said I barely remembered anything from my childhood. So
this
that's a great white picture. I love it.
this
Oh,
symbol has the ankh in the middle of it, so maybe it's a third eye kind of thing.
ooh, maybe. Okay, never mind. I think I just pulled that out of my ass. I apologize.
It's fine. It's fine.
I'm glad we figured it out though, and I didn't just continue with that.
Okay, and then just some modern rituals and practices. Modern Comedics obviously do not practice mummification. That's not, at least in the United States, that wouldn't be a legal way to be preserved and buried. So they now use photographs, mementos, other things to preserve the memory of the deceased person. And they typically have an Aku shrine in their somewhere in their home and somewhere, dedicated to the blessed dead for this purpose. So this is how they keep those person's memory alive to keep their afterlife nice. They have the ritual of Senut, which means shrine, or the daily rite, which is a daily ritual practiced. It's typically practiced in the formal temples, Obviously, some people who, like, if they're Kemetic pagans in the United States or in the Midwest anyway, there are probably not formal temples, but these you need like an incense burner or a diffuser, a lamp or a candle, and a place to put offerings, so like a shrine basically, or an altar. um and you're going to use representations of certain deities or maybe a more general focus such as Ma'at, um and then some kind of offerings, which again is going to depend on what you're trying to do. um but that's going to be like a daily ritual, kind of a checking in with your spirituality, updating your altar, talking with your guides kind of vibe. Um, there is a tradition of root naming, which is where a child is given an additional name depending on the god of his or her month of birth. I didn't go super deep into this, but I think it's really interesting. So if anybody wants us to, let me know and I'll do like a TikTok or something. And then the rite of parent divination, which is a ritual performed for either adult converts into Kemeticism or children at puberty that are in Kemeticism. So that is what I've got. Researching on the internet is great, but there's nothing like hearing from real practitioners, and it's been a while since we've had a guest on the show. So if anybody wants to reach out and chat with us about any of this, or anybody, even like an Egyptologist or like a history person.
I was gonna say, I don't even.
It doesn't
you
even have to be
have like a degree in this. Like, I want to
right.
hear.
It doesn't even have to be. So I don't know why, and maybe it's because we're from the Midwest and shit's boring here. And like most of our culture has been fucking erased. But I really was obsessed with ancient Egypt. We did a big, huge project about it in the 6th grade. And since then, like, I was like, I'm going to be an archaeologist. I'm going to go do the digging and the stuff and do all of it.
That's
and
what we're going to do now. We're just going to quit everything. We're going to leave and we're going to go dig. We're going to go play in the dirt.
Go to Egypt or somewhere. Because I'm also obsessed with dinosaurs, so it doesn't really matter. I don't dinosaurs, Egypt. I'm not picky. Pompeii, like, have we found all of that? I don't know.
I think they actually found, maybe, I don't know if it's more recently or anything, but I think they actually located a place that was essentially under like a layer of everything. Like they had undid it, and they found like pretty pristine items, and it wasn't Pompeii. It was like another major catastrophic event from a volcano. I don't know.
I'm into it.
See, like, that's the kind of research and studying. Like, everyone's like, oh, you're such a researcher, but listen, I can look up anything on, like,
I just like to learn.
Yeah. I like made a comment. Will's rewatching Arrow again, and I like remember bits and pieces from the first time. And that's the thing about, like, I don't know.
I know, Brittany does the same thing. She has comfort shows, but I'm just like, how many? What is this, like number 5 now since I've known him?
I think, yeah. Well, and he had, it's just on in the background, and he'll be watching it while he's on his computer, and we're just fucking gaming.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, because it like started the next episode, and it was like previously on Arrow and The Flash, and he goes, oh, gotta go watch The Flash now. And then he stops and he watches like 5 episodes of The Flash, and it was like previously on The Flash and Arrow. He goes, oh, gotta go watch the Arrow. And then he like flips back to it, and then he watches that until it's like done. And I'm just like, this is probably why, not that I couldn't get into either one of them, but this is probably why I like lost interest, because we were fucking flipping back and forth.
I am not flipping back and forth. Not doing it.
Like, if it was a book, I could do that, because then I could see what I'm fucking reading.
Yeah. Well, and then the one guy on The Flash is in Rent, and I just can't.
Every time I see him, I'm like, Godspeed, sir.
Yeah. Like,
you're doing your best.
I just don't. I don't know.
I actually made that comment the other night, and I was like, I love that they took Broadway stars and made them TV shows or TV
Right? Because
stars,
like
but then they
multiple
brought
of
back.
them are like Broadway people.
Well, Grant Gustin literally got his start or like one of his big breaks on Glee.
Yeah, Glee.
And I'm honestly really surprised they went with him. Not like that he was not great for that role, because he really was. And it was so crazy to see, like, when Will was like, yeah, I'm gonna watch The Flash again. And I wasn't really a big TV show. So when I saw him on there, I was like, damn, look at him not being like, look at him doing his like little Spider-Man counterpart, like happy-go-lucky nerd.
Right?
I saw him as a prick in the Glee universe, and let me
And
tell
the
you, he
Glee
played that
Club.
so well. But I mean, and maybe this is just because of the time that Glee was done, but like Grant Gustin played a gay a cappella star at like an all boys school.
Yeah.
And I
And he was
just
a
feel like
dickhead.
you had Chris Colfer, who was openly gay, openly like a singer. You couldn't have just picked somebody else.
Right?
Like,
Anybody? Literally.
but that's neither here nor there. However, the yeah, he's rewatching it now, and I'm like getting fucking whiplash right now,
Nice.
at least, because it's flipping between everything. I was like, you were literally just watching, what was it called? The Two Brothers, Demon Hunters, Supernatural. Like, you literally we were just watching Supernatural, and before that, we were watching fucking Dexter, and Dexter's not even, like, you haven't even finished Dexter, and before that, we were watching Breaking Bad. Like, this is why I can't do it. He's like, we have like 12 episodes or 12 seasons of Supernatural to go through. And I was like, yeah, it's the same damn thing every single fucking episode. Once you get to like season 4, you ran through everything. How much more cult shit can you go through? You can't.
Yeah. Some
You're like
shows
trying to
go
find
on
some,
too long.
what, like 19 seasons? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
And then he tried watching Vampire Diaries one time, and I was like, no.
Just no.
And then he started watching Sabrina the Teenage Witch, and I was like, I actually watched this. And he goes, oh, you dude? Cool, we're gonna watch it. I was like, it got like weird after season 2, and he just looks at me. I was like, look, this show is weird.
It is. But once she goes to college, it's like,
Season 2 is just like too many things happening at once. It was, you're going to be doing this over here, but Harvey's going to do this, and then you're going to do that, and then you're going to do this, and then this, and then this, all happening in the same fucking episode.
Yeah.
No. That, yeah. Like, they added too many things at one. I was like, no, I can't do that.
Yeah. I watched it all, but once she went to college and the ants weren't in it as much and shit, I was like,
I know, and that, I get it. It was supposed to be like a darker version of Sabrina and like show like the dark version of like occult and witchcraft or whatever, but like,
which Sabrina are you talking about? Because I was talking about the original.
I was talking about the most recent one.
The Chilling Adventures or whatever.
Yeah, the original
I was
one.
Talking about the original.
Oh. Did you watch the most recent one?
No.
Okay, well, it's really fucking weird. And it actually got a lot of hate because there's a lot of like the ants. First of all, they really did well at like taking the same personalities and mixing and like putting it on like the act, like in the news story. So like you still got like the lovable Zelda, the like stern and serious
that one was Zelda. The serious one was Zelda, and the other one was Hilda.
I was gonna call him Grumhilda. Anyway,
Close
so
enough.
you got like the dopey ant, and then you got like the stern and serious ant, and then you got the like, oh, I'm half. How do I handle this? And you got like the dumbass boyfriend, and you got no talking cat, but like,
listen,
Salem's
that was the
still
best
there.
part of that show.
No, Salem's still there, but he is what do they call him? They call him a familiar, and it's like a demon. He's a demon that like takes.
He's supposed to be a really bad cat puppet.
But like that's what I'm talking about. Like they took basically the similar aspects of the original show but they made it so fucking dark. It's like as soon as you like walk into it, they're like, "We're gonna bathe you in the blood of these rats because we got to prepare you as a 16-year-old to be." Not like they actually did it, but it's
Right.
just like you're basically like this person is supposed to like do all these things to prepare to be given to the Lord Satan, and then like at your birth, like you're supposed to, like your name is supposed to be written in the Lord of or in the book of the devil or the book of the beast or something like that. And
Okay.
when you turn 16, you physically have to write in that, and then you give yourself basically to Satan.
Okay.
And then anytime Zelda like is happy about it, he goes, "Oh, praise Satan." Like it took a very dark.
Interesting.
So it's like cool to see like the similarities, but like after season 1, it just got real fucking weird. It was just like multiple things in the same episode, and you're like, I can't follow this along anymore. It's
Yikes.
like Riverdale. It just too many things happened at once. It's actually supposed to be in the same like universe as Riverdale, but
Oh, I've never watched that either.
yeah, okay. Same thing, different day. But sorry about that. Anyways,
It's fine. Side quest. Ha.
anyways,
So, yeah.
I forgot what I have to say.
Until next time.
Until next time.
Bye.